Well, hey, and welcome to the Creative Corner podcast. My name is Noah Black. I'm your host, and I have a really awesome guest with me today. It is Josh Farley, a.k.a. J-Bird.
J-Bird, what up, what up?
So, really excited to have you on, man. And
Yeah, dude.
whenever
Me too.
talking, I put up a post on my Facebook of who were some people that people want to see or hear from and get insight from. And then, like, pretty quick, somebody commented your name.
Was it Megan?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yep. I remember seeing that.
Yeah. So it was really cool. But then I remember I had seen you post a few things in the past because we'd went to high school together.
Yeah.
And so we didn't know each other like in high school, but I had known about you through a mutual friend of ours.
Yep.
And so it was really cool. I remember you guys had like started a metal band in high school and then like had been doing that. So he was talking in class whenever you guys first started of like how great of a drummer you were and all this really cool stuff.
Yep,
and
that's
so
where it all started.
yeah. And so I remember like when seeing you tagged, I went and like listened through your music. I listened to a song before in the past, but then really like listened to all your content and was like really impressed. I was like, man, somebody from Albemarle is actually like investing into their production. And so it was really cool. So really pumped to have you on, man, for sure.
Man. It's rare to find people who will take it seriously.
Right. Yeah. But just to dive in a little bit, what would you say into your background with music? Like what initially got you into it to like stuff in high school or even maybe before that or whatever to where you're at right now?
Yeah, it all started with my brother when I was young playing punk rock and metal.
Yeah.
And I always loved the energy of it. That's my favorite thing about that kind of music. It's just the energy. When you're at a metal show, I mean, if you've ever been, you know, it's so different. And then my parents got me a drum set when I was 12, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And it just took off from there.
Yeah.
I've been doing music ever since in some way, shape, or form.
Right.
The first project I was in was Dear August, the metal band. That was probably 7 years ago. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, that's crazy. But it's been cool to see that. So that's what I initially remember you from as being the drummer for a metal band. And then now, like you're a hip hop artist, you're a lyricist, like, and so talk a little bit about like what got you specifically into this style, some things that may have inspired you to bring you to where you're at with that now.
Yeah, the big thing with me is I tried to be in bands for so long, and being in a band is very difficult. I mean, being in a band I describe it as being in like a relationship. You have to communicate on the same level. And if every member of the group doesn't communicate in that way, it's going to fall apart.
Yeah, 100%.
So I've seen that happen several times over and over. So I was like, screw it. I'm going to do it myself.
Yeah.
And it's worked out for me so far. Metalhead who raps.
It's awesome.
And I'm trying to get into making my own instrumentals now. I do acoustic stuff that I rap over. I'm trying to get better at singing, but singing is singing.
Yeah.
I like to scream. Sometimes I just like to go home and scream.
Yeah. For sure.
So I can do that too. With rap, you can do anything. That's what I really like about it.
Yeah.
You can say whatever you want, however you want it.
Yeah.
And a lot of other genres are a little more restricted.
Right.
But I'm still in a punk rock band as well. I actually mixed some of our music this morning.
That's awesome.
So just trying to do everything until something happens.
Yeah. For sure.
I have a lot of free time
Yeah.
now.
But yeah, and I mean, it's a great point. I've had conversations with friends before about how with rap music, it is very much like you can go into whatever type of like rhyming scheme. You can talk about topics that normally like if you did it, say in a metal song, it could come across as like really cheesy or like really cool.
Yeah,
and it's just natural. It's not like there's anything like I don't know where that stigma may have started, but it's you're so right that it's very open in that lane, and so I think that's really cool. But with your pursuit in that area, I know you have a new project coming out. So tell me a little bit about what started that project. Some of the like if there's theming behind it or anything like that. What kind of
album?
Yeah.
Well, I released this one, Blessing in Disguise. When did I release it? In June, and it is something. Like some of these songs, the song Divided, I wrote 4 or 5 years ago. It's just like songs that I've gathered over the past few years.
Yeah.
It's a very aggressive nature. And then after I released it, I just started working on new music that was inspired from experiences I'd had this year.
Yeah.
And
there's been a lot that's happened this past year.
Yeah. And I'm just trying to bring a lot more positivity and inspiration into the new stuff while still keeping my style, because the aggressive thing is just I'm a metalhead who raps. Yeah. It's there. It's going to be there.
Right.
But I'm really excited about this new project. I got an artist, JJ Demon. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of him, but he was a huge inspiration for me growing up. A rapper that I just really enjoyed, and I actually got him on one of my songs.
Oh,
called
that's
What
awesome.
If.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'm very excited to release this.
Yeah.
I'm still working. I got 10 songs down, and I thought 10 was done, but I just listened through it, and I'm like, it's missing 2 songs.
It's missing something. Yeah.
So I'm going to go back and rework some of it.
Yeah, that's really exciting, man. And so, what would you say, like, when you go into to like write a song? What's your initial thing? You're a producer as well. Like, you not only like produce your own stuff, but then also like you produce for other
Just do
people.
it all myself.
Yeah. So, what would you say, like, each song, whenever you begin to write, do you normally start with the production, with the instrumental? Do you start with lyrics? Does it kind of like depend per song, or how does it go?
Definitely depends on the song. Sometimes I use beats that I purchase from Jordan Vandy and Ryanie Beats. Those are 2
Right.
people I get through a lot. And I just actually got into producing my own instrumentals.
Yeah.
With ukulele, I have my own keyboard.
Right.
Been playing piano every day. Yeah, I'm really trying to get into that realm of it, like producing my own instrumentals,
Right.
100% myself.
Yeah.
But the songwriting process, usually I just have an idea, and I'll find an instrumental that I want to use, and just start writing.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have a studio in my house, so I can, just like you do, just go next door and get started.
For sure. Yeah. And so with the aspiring like hip hop artist or somebody that's wanting to get into that space, I know in the past there's been different like hip hop artists that I enjoy listening to, that some will, like, you have the ones that just go in and just like they'll freestyle, and then there's some that go in and they'll just like they'll mumble a cadence and then put lyrics to it later that simply like feels good. And then they'll
Whatever
go back.
works.
They'll go back and re-record like something towards actual words over top of it, or some people like think really like lyrical right off the bat and then try and make it work from that. Where like, what do you normally like go into when writing lyrics and kind of doing some stuff like that?
100% songwriting. I cannot freestyle. I will never admit to being able to freestyle. Maybe one day I'll get it, but it's not something I practice because I've always been in metal bands and punk rock bands. So you write down verses and choruses.
You
it's
think
pretty
through it.
structured.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's just how I write music. I have to have my lyrics written down.
Yeah.
And I love writing. I mean, I'm a poet also.
Yeah.
I've always loved writing. So that's one of my favorite parts of the whole process, honestly.
Yeah.
Getting lyrics. And I can say whatever I want.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's the best form of expression, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
It's a really
And
high form of it.
yeah, you mentioned just now like you being a poet and getting into poetry and stuff like that. What initially like got you into that space? Because that's a whole new that's not just like, oh, it's the same thing as songwriting. It's like much different. So talk like a little bit more in depth with that. What got you started in that, and then I'm sure that plays a huge role in the way that you write your.
Oh yeah, it
runs.
is very different. I've actually tried rapping my poems before. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's awkward. But I think the poetry thing. Went to university in Charlotte for 4 years, and I ended up studying translation. I speak a bunch of languages, and I studied Spanish predominantly there, but also studied other languages.
Right.
And it's really the linguistic thing that got me into poetry. Just
Right.
I enjoyed reading, I enjoyed learning languages, so I'll write poetry in Spanish or something like that. And then it just at one point I had a collection of poetry and I was like, I should release it.
Yeah.
And now I'm taking it a lot more seriously, just like with my music.
Yeah.
Because I released this stuff and I'm like, wow, I can actually like be an artist.
Right.
It's actually possible.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So chat through. You have a poetry book. Chat through a little bit of that, like how people can get it, that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, it's called Lucid Reflections. I just self-published on Amazon, so just type in Lucid Reflections, Joshua Farley, and it'll pop right up. It's 15 poems. It's pretty short, as you can see. There's 15 poems about. How do I say what it's about? Wow. I don't know, just about stuff I've experienced and stuff I'm interested in. You can hear it in my music a lot too. Kind of the spiritual nature of life. That's the thing about like poetry and music and stuff like that and art. You can express these things that are impossible to put into words.
Right, for
I
sure.
mean, I know you're a very religious person, and that can go, like sometimes you can't describe your feelings in that way.
Right, yeah.
And I feel the same way about some of the things I've experienced and just the spiritual nature of life, because you have the physical, you have the mental realms, and then spiritual is just a whole thing. A lot of people
Yeah.
don't even know what it
Yeah,
is.
for sure.
Don't know how to describe it. I just kind of figured out my own level of it this
Yeah.
past year.
Yeah, for sure.
So that comes up a lot in the new album, the new poetry book.
Yeah.
The next poetry book is coming out in April, and it's called Rainbow Waterfalls.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I think that's huge. I think definitely like you hitting on that. Like there's a level to it. Like I remember I started to dabble with poetry shortly after I got into songwriting, and I haven't like touched it much since. Because it was, I mean, it's a very deep thing, and I think there's ways that the way you said, like you can express things because you're able to like articulate through metaphors or through whatever of like what you're going through, like an overabundance of emotion or something that you're feeling, positive or negative. Like you can explain it in a really good way through poetry. And so I found like I don't dabble in that space as much now, but even just writing in general, like does so much for you. Like it brings so much more clarity, and it brings so much more like relief in situations, And so I think that's really, really cool. So whenever this is going to be the weirdest question ever, but like with you sit in a mode of songwriting or you sit in a mode of poetry, which one would you say out of the two, like you feel like you get the most like out of, that you feel super productive in?
Music, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, that's the highest form of art. For me personally, I mean, I've tried visual art and stuff, poetry. I've always loved reading literature, but music is just it moves you. It literally moves you. Like
Right.
if you don't even have to like music that much, but if you hear a song, like your foot's gonna move or something, it moves you physically.
Right.
Like that's a very important aspect of it.
Yeah.
Movement's just as important as the sound itself.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. So for the listener that's jumping in, that's like, hey, they're interested in the way, because you've communicated like really well of like the reasoning why you dive into all sorts of different avenues. And so for the person who's maybe wants to jump into songwriting, wants to jump into producing, wants to jump into poetry, or whatever of the 1,000 things that you do, what would you say to them to like encourage them to kind of get that kickstart into doing it?
And that's a hard one. I mean, it's just. Can you repeat that question?
Yeah, I got you. So for the person who is like aspiring to do like whatever sorts of creative avenues, whether it be poetry, hip hop music, production, whatever, what would you encourage them to like take that next step into like pursuing it, whatever it is?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people want to do it. It's just the act of actually doing it.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people want to be a musician, want to perform, but they don't want to write entire albums and market themselves, because that's 50% of it. Is marketing yourself, selling your work. So you just have to want it.
Yeah.
Like you have to truly want it and then do it. Whenever you have an idea, you have to act on it, because 2 hours later that idea is going to be gone, not existing anymore.
Yeah.
And it could have been great. It could have been a hit. It could have been your avenue into songwriting.
Right.
So just always act on those impulses, even if you feel like you don't have time or something. If you can't give yourself time, then you need more time.
Right. Yeah. Need to make time.
Yeah, it's like I read this thing once about meditation. If you can't give yourself 20 minutes to meditate, you need 2 hours.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. And we like talking about that, like no matter like what people's faith or religious belief is, like to me, like love to be able to learn more things about people. But something for me, as a Christian, I value is the rest system, because you see the outline of that in Scripture of, God rested on the seventh day after making creation, and so for me, there needs to be a day of the week that I rest, and that I don't consume my mind and just do a whole ton of stuff. And I found that in that normally it falls on Fridays. Like I just normally don't work on anything. I just kind of chill, do things that are like fun and I enjoy and like rejuvenate me, like this. Yeah. And so it works. Like it just practically works. And so no matter what your faith system is, like resting and you said meditating, like that stuff works.
Yeah, absolutely. It's mind training. Just like exercise is physical training, mind training is
Yeah.
just as important.
Yeah, yeah,
You have
and
to sit there and understand what this is. What
Yeah.
is mind? It's
Yeah.
not your brain.
yeah, yeah, and that's why we have such big discussions now, and I love how much discussion is going around mental health because people are like actually like learning and moving forward and not being
Understanding what it is, asking questions about it.
yeah, and actually getting the help that's needed. So I love that, and so I know there's also some people who may jump in who they are already like established artists or they've actually like been doing this for a while that are discouraged by COVID because they can't do as much stuff. And so, is there any encouragement or anything that you would offer those people that are watching?
Just use your time wisely. I mean, I've had the past year to work on music, and it sucks because I really do want to play a show. I still haven't got to perform. I have 20 songs as Jaybird, and I haven't played a show with them yet.
Right.
But I'm just taking every day to get better at music, learn how to produce more, get better at my rhymes, my own rapping, my vocal abilities, because I want to be able to sing with it too.
Yeah.
I love music.
Yeah.
So I've been really taking advantage of the time, even though it does suck.
Right.
I'm ready for live music to come back.
Yeah.
Festivals, I'm ready for it all.
Yeah.
And it's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming.
It's coming. Yeah.
Oh man, it's gonna be so good.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so cool. What's some like I'm interested to pick your brain. What's some artist right now that you're like really either influenced by or you just love to listen to their music? Like what's some pretty like common songs on your rotation right now or artists?
Lately, I'm on a lot of like, because I've been learning piano and all the different functions that come with it. So I've been listening to a lot of classical music and Celtic music. What else? I mean, just in general, metal.
Yeah.
Trying to think. Yeah. I don't really know.
Classical and metal.
Classical music and metal. That's it, man. Just everything.
Yeah.
Everything that falls in between.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot to fall in between there. What's some like hip hop artists that you listen to, or some that have inspired you?
I mean, Machine Gun Kelly is definitely a big one.
Yeah, bro, his new album is so good.
The punk rock
Yeah,
album.
yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah, dude, that inspired me with my punk rock band a little more. That's
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, he's versatile. He's always been
Yeah.
a huge inspiration for me.
Yeah.
He can do a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
And he's definitely dedicated to it. You can see what he's learning, all these new instruments and stuff.
Yeah.
That shows a lot.
Yeah, yeah, it shows how much he cares like about the art too. Yeah,
Yeah, another artist I really like is Stick Figure. Have you ever heard of him?
I have not. I've not.
It's like a reggae artist. He does everything on his own. Like, he has like a van that he does all of his music in. It's really good.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I love reggae music. That's probably my number one. I just don't know how to make it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, man. For sure. Yeah, and I love that. I love hearing about like what inspires different artists and like especially for you, like you
Yeah, like
you're
rap
engaged in some
and hip hop music doesn't inspire me that much
right.
compared to like everything else.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just, I don't know. It's something I found that I can do well,
Right.
and I really enjoy it. It's so fun.
Yeah, yeah. It was really funny whenever I was in a band and back like started in high school and then played for a few years with them, and we would travel and do shows, and it was funny because we predominantly played with like hard rock and heavy metal bands, and which was really fun. Like I love the style of music we played, but it was really funny because on the drives to there and from there, I was always listening to like The Neighborhood or Halsey or people like that, like super like pop radio people because I just enjoy it. Like I love this. That's like what inspired my songwriting with like the way that they functioned.
It's crazy where inspiration comes from.
Yeah, it's nuts, but it was always really cool. So I like to pick people's brains. I definitely wanted to see like because of how versatile you are, like where inspiration comes from and stuff like that. And so really appreciate that.
It comes from all the experiences. Life's crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
Wild.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, for people, just in conclusion, for people that are jumping in that want to stay connected with you more, that want to know where to access your content, stuff like that, or your social medias, let them know where they can stay connected with you once they click off the podcast.
Absolutely. Facebook, you can find Jaybird. Just look up Jaybird. Not sure how easy that'll be to find. It might be like Jaybird26, the Facebook tag, Facebook URL thing.
Yeah.
But Instagram will probably be a better bet. Jaybird_music. And then my poetry page is Jaybird Poetry. And then you can find me on YouTube. Just type in Jaybird and you'll find my music.
Yeah.
I have a couple music videos. That's another big thing I'm trying to work on because I have this new album and I need content for it. I need some promotional material. I need music videos. That's a big one. And that's something I'm not well trained in. I know how to put together a video and sync it with music, but that's it.
Yeah.
And I need something better.
Yeah.
So that's probably my next step.
Yeah, that's huge. Yeah, and I shot you a few people's info, but if you're jumping in and you are a videographer or something like that, like be sure to either shoot him a message, shoot me a message. I'll direct it to him, and would love to be able. Like I love this podcast because it is so many different creatives, and some podcasts can be just super entertaining, but then others like it can provide like helpful resources for people. And so if you're a videographer, video editor, whatever, like be sure like reach out and. For sure. So yeah, but for real, like thanks for coming, hanging out. I love.
Man, thanks for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I love. I remember I mentioned to you before, like it was cool because we didn't really know each other in high school, but to be able to see people who are like really trying to move to the next level and like actually trying to pursue something.
I've always seen your work here and there. I saw a cover you did a couple months ago, I believe. I think Devin showed it to me. You had some screams in it. Sick.
I appreciate
so
that, man.
Good, dude.
I appreciate that, man.
Man.
It's metal music's dope, man. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, man. So, but for real, thank you for jumping in, man.
Absolutely,
and
I
coming hang out
appreciate
with
it.
me. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning into the podcast. If you're watching through YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, thank you so much. If you would just subscribe, you can see more content similar to this, all sorts of creatives and stuff. I have incredible guests that come on. If you want to keep up with the podcast social page, go to Instagram at Creative Corner Podcast. If you want to keep up with my personal socials, it's Noah C. Black, NoahBlack. If you want to keep up with me there, and then you can go to my website, noahcblack.com, to get all sorts of resources and stuff through the podcast and a lot of creative things outside of that. So thank you so much for jumping in, and we'll see you next week.